What's up, everybody? It's your boy Bryce here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the Miami Hurricanes getting the dub over the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Final score was 48-7. Yes, I know this game was about 6 days ago. It's currently September 20th. That game was played last Thursday, September 14th. That was a 7:30 p.m. kickoff at Hard Rock Stadium. I would have liked to have done a video on this sooner, but real life stuff came up. So I do apologize for that, but I just wanted to give you guys and gals my overall thoughts on this game. And then also, I know the Canes are going to be traveling to Temple to play the Temple Owls. That's going to be at Lincoln Financial Field at Philadelphia. That is a 3:30 p.m. kickoff, and that game will be on ESPN2. Also, the Canes are ranked 20th in the country, so I am going to be doing a video on that, but in this particular video, I'm going to be talking about the Miami Hurricanes getting the dub over the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats last Thursday. And then stay tuned for my video on the Miami Hurricanes going against the Temple Owls. With that out of the way, let's get into today's video. So I do have some team stats up here, and I am on the desktop, just to let you all know. So I'm going to start off with the Canes. Canes had 32 first downs, third down efficiency was 7-9, fourth down efficiency was 1-1, total yards 589, passing 349, yards per pass 10.3, no interceptions thrown, rushing 240, rushing attempts 36, yards per rush 6.7, penalties 5 of 34, turnovers 1, fumbles lost 1, interceptions thrown 0, time possession 35 minutes and 2 seconds. For the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, 8 first downs, third down efficiency was 6 of 13, fourth down efficiency was 0, total yards 165, passing 132, yards per pass 7.8, interceptions thrown 0, rushing 33, rushing attempts 30, yards per rush 1.1, penalties 6 of 35, turnovers 1, fumbles lost 1, interceptions thrown 0, time possession 24 minutes and 58 seconds. I also did want to talk about the one turnover for the Canes. Tyler Van Dyke threw a pass to Cole Young, and I'm trying to remember if it was a catch and fumble. I think it was a catch and fumble, and it was under review, and I think it ended up being a catch and fumble, which ended up giving the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats the ball back. For Bethune-Cookman's Wildcats turnover, Kiko Malgoa, aka Francisco Malgoa, ended up forcing a fumble, and Jacob Lichtenstein, who we got to see I think later on in the game, ended up getting the fumble recovery for the Canes. So just wanted to get that out of the way. But anyways, we're going to be moving on to individual stats here. So I'm going to start off with the Canes. Tyler Van Dyke went 19 of 23 for 247 yards, 10.7 average, 2 touchdowns. His QBR was 95.4. We did get to see Emory Williams late in the game. He did get some reps with the first team and second team and third team. Went 9 of 11 for 102 yards to 9.3 average, no touchdowns, no interception. His QBR was 45.6. As a team, 28 of 34 for 349 yards, 10.3 average, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. For Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, starting quarterback, I want to say Luke Sprong. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name, and I apologize if I'm butchering that last name. I believe that was their starting quarterback. He did end up getting injured in that game, and they brought in their backup quarterback, Betha. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Again, I do apologize for butchering these names. Luke went 3 of 3 for 23 yards, 7.3 average, no touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Talik Betha was 5 of 9 for 47 yards, 5.2 average, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Drew Simmons III, another quarterback for them, went 3 of 5 for 62 yards, 12.4 average, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. And just, again, this is for Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, to make that clear. Moving on for rushing, Don Chaney Jr. had 7 carries for 73 yards, 10.4 average, 1 touchdown. His longest play 6. A.J. Allen, 12 carries for 68 yards, 5.7 average, 2 touchdowns, and his long was 16. Henry Parrish Jr. had 7 carries for 52 yards, 7.4 average, 0 touchdowns. His long was 15. Chris Johnson Jr., the freshman running back, got to see him late in the game, had a beautiful juke move, and that dude's fast, and I can't wait to see his development for the Canes in the near future. He had 7 carries, 40 yards, 5.7 average, 1 touchdown. His long was 21. We did get to see Tyler Van Dyke run the ball. He had 2 carries for 16 yards, 8.0 average, 1 touchdown, and his long was 10. Williams had 1 carry for negative 9 yards, negative 9.0 average, no touchdowns, and his long was 0. Team, 36 carries, 240 yards, 6.7 average, 5 touchdowns, his long was 26. For Bethune-Cookman, I'm not even trying to pronounce his first name, but Basil had 7 carries for 22 yards, 3.1 average, no touchdown, his long was 9. Walter Simmons III had 4 carries for 21 yards, 5.3 average, 1 touchdown, his long was 14. Terry Lindsay had 4 carries for 4 yards, 1.0 average, no touchdown, his long was 9. Jimmy Robinson III had 6 carries for 3 yards, 0.5 average, no touchdown, his long was 4. Talib Betha had 7 carries, negative 8 yards, negative 1.1 average, 0 touchdowns, his long was 6. Luke Sprong had 2 carries for negative 9 yards and negative 4.5 average yards, and his long was 4. As a team, 30 carries for 33 rushing yards, 1.1 average, 1 touchdown, and long was 14. So to talk about the touchdown that Bethune-Cookman had, it was a late touchdown. It was a garbage time touchdown. Bethune-Cookman. We had a broken coverage play, and I want to say, I think it was like probably like a, I'm trying to remember, I think it was like a 30 or 40 yard play that we gave up or something like that, passing play. I can't really remember. I do apologize, guys. But long story short, we did have, I think our third stringers in, whatever you want to call it, third stringers, however you want to call it. And we did end up giving up a touchdown late in that game. So we did not get the shutout, unfortunately. But took care of business. So in terms of receiving, Xavier Strepo had 6 receptions for 120 yards. His average was 20. No touchdowns, as long as 26. XR7 continuing to get it done. We did get to see Rashard Smith. He got 3 receptions for 55 yards, 18.3 average, 1 touchdown, as long as 27. Colby Young, 5 receptions for 55 yards, 11.0 average, 0 touchdowns, as long as 16. Jacoby George, 5 receptions for 52 yards, 10.4 average, 1 touchdown, 15 was his long. Got to see the freshman Robbie Washington, 2 receptions for 27 yards, 13.5 average, no touchdowns, as long as 18. Tyler Harrell, got to see 1 reception from him, 14 yards, 14.0 average, no touchdowns, as long as 14. Jaleel Skinner had 1 reception for 9 yards, 9.0 average, 0 touchdowns, as long as 9. Cam McCormick had 1 reception for 8 yards, 8.0 average, no touchdowns, as long as 8. Got to see Ray Joseph, 3 receptions, 5 yards, 1.7 average, 0 touchdowns, as long as 5. Henry Parrish Jr. had 1 reception for 4 yards, 4.0 average, no touchdowns, as long as 4. As a team, 28 receptions for 349 yards, 12.5 average, 2 touchdowns, and the long was 27. For Bethune-Cookman, Basil had 1 reception for 40 yards. The average was 40, no touchdowns, and the long was 40. I believe that was the broken play. So it was about, I think, a 40-yard play that led to the Bethune-Cookman touchdown. Terry Lindsay had 2 receptions for 20 yards, 10.0 average, the long was 18. Boy, man, I'm trying not to butcher this name. Daviano Ellington, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Again, I do apologize for potentially butchering his name. He had 1 reception for 18 yards, 18.0 average, 0 touchdowns, his long was 18. Cleo Overton had 1 reception for 17 yards, 17.0 average, 0 touchdowns, his long was 17. Boyd had 3 receptions for 16 yards, 5.3 average, 0 touchdown, his long was 7. Caleb Lyam had 1 reception for 15 yards, 15.0 average, no touchdown, his long was 15. Dakari Allen Johnson had 2 receptions for 6 yards, 3.0 average, 0 touchdowns, his long was 4. As a team, for Bethune-Cookman in terms of receiving. They had 11 receptions for 132 yards, 12.0 average, no touchdowns, and a long was 40. Like I said, for Bethune-Cookman, they did have one fumble and ended up getting the fumble recovery that Kobe Young fumbled. As a team, they had 2 fumbles, lost one, and ended up getting one back. Young, as I said, had 1 fumble and lost one, and Jacob Lichtenstein ended up getting a fumble recovery. Kigo Malgoa ended up creating, like I said earlier in the video, Kigo Malgoa, aka Cisco Malgoa, ended up having a forced fumble that Jacob Lichtenstein ended up recovering later on in the game. Defensively, Francisco Malgoa led the way, 4 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 tackle for loss. Jaideus Richard, 4 total tackles, 3 solo, no tackles for loss. Jaden Wayne, got to see him out there, he looked great. 4 total tackles, 2 solo, no sacks, no tackles for loss, no pass deflections, no touchdowns. James Williams, 3 total tackles, 3 solo. Thomas Gore, 3 total tackles, 2 solo, 2 tackles for loss. Chase Smith, got to see that he's healthy. 3 total tackles, 1 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Corey Fine Jr., 2 total tackles, 2 solo, and 1 tackle for loss. Keith Williams had 2 total tackles, 2 solo, 0 sacks, and 0 tackles for loss. Let's see, who else did we get to see in the game? Damari Brown, as many as you know, Damari Brown had a big time hit in that game, and I'm excited to see how he does as a Can in the near future. But he had 2 total tackles, 1 solo, and 1.5 sacks. Raul Agari Jr., hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Again, I do apologize for butchering these names, but I'm trying, guys. 2 total tackles, 0 solo, and 0.5 sacks. We did get to see the brother, Bobby Washington Jr., 2 total tackles, 0 solos, no sacks, no tackles for loss. We did get to see Ruben May Jr. He had 1 total tackle, 1 solo, and he did have a sack in this game and 1 tackle for loss. That dude is going to be a beast. And we did get to see Cyrus Moss. He had 1 total tackle as well. And a couple other guys here as well, but I'll save you guys all that names. But as a team, 47 total tackles, 29 solo, 4 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, and 1 pass deflections, but no touchdowns from defense. And then for Bethune-Cookman, defensively, Steven Sparrow led the way, had 9 total tackles, 7 solos, 0 sacks, 0 tackles for loss, no pass deflections, and no touchdowns. Thompson had 7 total tackles, 4 solo, 0 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. Keywan Harris had 6 total tackles, 2 solo, no sacks, no tackles for loss. Amari Hill Robinson had 5 total tackles, 4 solo, 0 sacks, 0 tackles for loss, no pass deflections, no touchdowns. St. Clement had 5 total tackles, 3 solo, and 1 pass deflection. I can keep going down the list for Bethune-Cookman, but the team, they had 76 total tackles, 38 solos, 1 sack. I believe that was on Emory Williams. 4 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, and no touchdowns. For kick returns, Rashard Smith had 1 for 36 yards, 36.0 average, as long as 36, no touchdowns. Ray Joseph had 1 for 15 yards, 15 was the average, and as long was 15, no touchdowns. As a team, 2 returns for 51 yards, 25.5 average, the long was 36 and no touchdowns. For Bethune-Cookman, T. Boyd had 1 return for 10 yards, 10.0 average, the long was 10, no touchdowns. Punt returns for the Canes, they had 2 punts returns for 21 yards, 10.5 average, the long was 19, and 0 touchdowns. And for kicking, Borgalis was 5 of 6 on extra points. Earlier on in the game, there was a bad snap and ended up missing a field goal. hopefully that got corrected in this week's practice. I don't know if this is a walk-on or not, but his name is Will Racha. He was 1-1 on extra points and had 1 point in terms of field goal. And as a team, we were 6-7 on extra points and had a total of 6 points. I have not heard of his name, Will Racha. I'm not so sure if he's a walk-on. I have no idea. That's cool to see, I guess. For Bethune, Cade Hetcher was 1-1 on extra points and had a total of 1 points. And punting, Dylan Joyce had 1 punt for 47 yards. His average was 47. No touchbacks, no inside the 20 as long as it was 47. And then for Bethune-Cookman, I'm not even trying to pronounce his last name, but they had a total of 7 punts for 314 yards. The average was 44.9. No touchbacks, 1 inside the 20, and the long was 52. So that is your team stats and your individual stats. And like I said, the final score was 48-7. The Canes are currently 3-0. And the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats are 1-2 and 0-2 away. Their only win of the season for the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats was against Savannah State. Their first game, they did play an American athletic team in Memphis. So, yeah, I'm not going to really dive in too much what teams Bethune-Cookman Wildcats played. But overall, my thoughts, we took care of business against Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. It was nice to be able to see, the second team and third team, or again, however you want to call it, second stringers, third stringers, get some playing time. I'm very excited to see how those guys develop in the near future. Tyler Van Dyke did his thing, Restrepo did his thing, the running back room did its thing, wide receiver room did its thing, tight end room did its thing. Overall, we took care of business Thursday night. And yeah, that's I did actually want to mention one thing. We did not get to see Cam Kitchens in the game, Akeem Mesidor, I'm trying to think of who else, Nigel Lee Kelly, Mark Fletcher, and I feel like there's one more that I'm missing, and Branson Dean. I don't know if I did, but I don't think I did mention his name. Anyways, we didn't get to see them in the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats games, which is fine. Let those guys rest, and hopefully we do see them back on the field soon. And yeah, overall, guys and gals, my thoughts on this game. We took care of business. We got the job done. We are currently 3-0 and 3-0 at home. Like I said, Bethune-Cookman Wildcats are 1-2 and 0-2 away. GG to the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. I mean, I'm not gonna bash the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Yeah. Overall, like I said, got the job done. It was nice to see some of the freshmen out there get some playing time. Nice to see our first team get some meaningful, valuable reps. Hopefully we learned from this game and watched the film and corrected some of the mistakes. And yeah, got to get ready for the Temple Owls this week. That is this Saturday, September 23rd. That is a 3:30 p.m. kickoff. That is going to be at Lincoln Financial Field, where the Philadelphia Eagles play. So that will be at Philadelphia. Excuse me. And again, I know I keep beating the dead horse. That's a 3:30 p.m. kickoff. And your Canes are ranked 20th in the country. Last time that I did a video on the Canes, they were ranked 22. They moved up 2 spots. Now they are ranked 20th in the country. And the Temple Owls are 2-1 overall. I believe their only loss is to the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, or Rutgers Scarlet Knights, I should say. But yeah, I'm going to dive in a little bit more on the Miami Hurricanes versus Temple Owls game in another video, but I just wanted to talk about the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats game against the Canes. Like I said, the final score was 48-7. Canes took care of business. Nice to see the freshmen out there get some playing time. And, first team did its thing. And, yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.